The weekend has begun, but we do not end things here. So today we're going to be reviewing Stardom with their much recent New Blood show number 23. Main event features, of course, the New Blood tag team belts. Members of EXV, Hanako, and Waka Tsukiyama, better known as Rice or Bread, will defend their championship against Momo Kogo and Yuri Him. Now, this match, of course, is a very interesting because many people are probably wondering, how would this thing go down between Momo and Yuria since they're not officially a solid tag team? And I think that is a very good, fair question. But of course, we're going to see other talents come in from other promotions as well. And then, of course, we have AEW Collision. As you all know, we are on the road to All In, so all things could happen before then. But as you know, Kyle Fletcher is still aiming for the TNA Championship. MJF still has his issues towards Mark Briscoe and Mystico and everything else as well. And then, of course, as always, we cap up our episode as normal with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information I was unable to put on this episode, I can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping. Let's get cracking. So, let's begin with Stardom. Okay, Stardom. New Blood 23. This happened exactly on 4th of July. So anybody ask, at the Tokyo Square in Itabashi. Now, we opened up with Emi Maishima taking on Rina. Now, deep down, we all know that Rina probably would have been the heavy favorite to win since she has the more experience, and mostly the rising star out of Emi Maishima, who is just a rookie in the entire promotion. However, the match turned into a very delicate situation. Apparently, Maishima applied a crossbody, but of course, Rina ended up being unconscious or something. She had a big concussion. So basically, the match was called off thanks to the referee Barb Sasaki. I have to say he did an amazing job calling it because he knows that this cannot continue while Rina is in this situation. So the match went up to, of course, to Emi Maishima, But deep down, we all know that Rina will try to justify this match to right the wrong that should not have happened. So we'll see what happens down the road. Now, our next match, we have Kikyo Furuzawa taking on Kiyoka Kotatsu. I have to say, this was a very interesting match for me. Obvious reasons. For those who have seen Furuzawa, she was amazing. She had like this technical aspects that kind of fits in the same kind of parameters with certain members of Godzai. You know, like Kotatsu, Shuri, Rana Yagami, Tomoka Inaba. That's those individuals, and I feel like she's that type of person. But however, Kotatsu, on the other hand, she has the far more better experience than her when she applied an armbar, and of course, Furuzawa had no choice but to tap out, and just like that, Kotatsu had no choice. I mean, Kotatsu picked up the win from there. Next up, we have a singles action. We have Asuka Fujitaki teaming up with Saran, taking on Honaka and Rian. Now, of course, a lot of factors of this one. I mean, Asuka Fujitaki is very much a much bigger individual than everybody else. Saran, as you know, many of you may know her from Ice Driven. She does have a bit of an experience. Honaka from Wave, and Rian, well, she has, I believe, I would like to say maybe somewhere between almost to a year of an experience. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, so that kind of sets it up. But what's interesting is that Rian was able to pick up a good win. Not the best win, but a good win in this one when she pinned Fujitaki. And I have to say, we could see amazing things coming from her down the road. But that's only just the beginning. So we'll just have to wait and see how things will roll up with her. Now, our next match, this is considered as a preliminary match. We have, of course, Akira Furigani teaming up with the Cosmic Angel members Sayaka Kurara and Aya Sakura. They take on Godzai, consisting of Rana Yagami, Lady C, and Hina. Now, many of you may ask me, why is this match considered a preliminary match? Obvious reasons. If you guys are not familiarized, Kurigani was the one who issued the challenge when she pinned Hina in a much recent event, and of course Hina accepted her challenge. So you can say that this match will lead up to their July 6th event, and who will walk out as the victor for today with the momentum. And that's a very good, honest question. Now, we know that Aya Sakura and Kurara do have a bit more experience than her, but of course Kurigani can pick up the pieces. But you look at, of course, Godzai, they are much a cohesion team for obvious reasons. Now let's think back. Kurigani and the Cosmic Angels, they're not mixed because, of course, they're not part of the cohesion team. Kurigani is part of Mi Vida Loca. Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara are in fact from the Cosmic Angels. So they could make things work for each other, but Godzai had the much better cohesion since they train together, they team up together, and that plays out. But of course, in the end, it was, of course, Hina with the ghetto clutch onto Kurigani, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, picked up the win. And of course, with that, Hina did a promo giving some words of advice to Kurigani for their upcoming match that'll take place 2 days later. And I think we will review that if it's possible. So we'll see what happens. Now, our main event is the New Blood Tag Team belt. We have the challengers Yuri Him and Momo Kogo. As you probably know, Yuri Him issued this challenge, and she at the time did not have a partner until Momo Kogo stepped up. They face against Rice or Bread, Hanako, and Waka Tsukiyama. Now, it's interesting because Yuri Him, as you probably know, she's still not affiliated with Stars yet. I mean, she has her sights set to join, but we don't know yet how that will progress. Now, we have seen Yuri Him, she can grow out of it. I mean, I'm sure she learned a few things while she was training with Stars. But in the end, it was in fact Hanako who picked up the win by applying a lariat on Yuria, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, many of you probably would say, will this mean Yuria will not join? Well, it looks like it, but it seems like Stars are interested in her to join. But she needs to, of course, amp up her wrestling craft in order to be a full-time member and to do so. So I'm sure Yuria will definitely do whatever it takes to not only please her peers, but also please Stars, knowing now they have to rebuild after losing 3 of its members. I mean, Mayu leaving Stardom, Koguma and Hazuki going on their own, that sort of thing. So we'll see what happens down the road. But of course, there is another Stardom that took place 2 days later. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'll be able to review it, but we'll see what happens. But as of right now, we'll end things here with Stardom. Let's move on with AEW Collision. Okay, AEW Collision. We opened up with, of course, Adam Cole, our current TNT champion, was about to make his promo with the usual "it's story time with Adam Cole, baby." So he was doing his little thing until Kyle Fletcher, as you know, showed up, who was demanding another shot of the TNT championship. However, of course, Adam Cole was telling him, "You are afraid. Last time we fought, Don Callis knew I had you beat." Now, Kyle Fletcher doesn't think that that's true. I mean, it seems like it was. From what we saw, Adam Cole did had Kyle Fletcher beat, but of course, the Don Callis, afraid of losing what they're trying to do, was like that. And then, of course, Daniel Garcia, our former TNT champion, showed up. So basically, Adam Cole was suggesting, I would take both of you on it all in. However, Kyle Fletcher's like, oh, hell no, it's not going to happen. So the main event came out to be, of course, a #1 contendership. Whoever will face Adam Cole at All In, on July 12th. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, our first match, we have a bit of a three-way match. We have Shelton Benjamin versus Nick Wayne versus Kevin Knight. Now, many of you might ask why. Simple. We know that Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey will love nothing more to get an opportunity of the AEW World Tag Team belts. However, Christian Cage is out there saying that he wants to become the first ever father and son tag team. But of course, MVP, as you know, recently said that he doesn't believe that Nick Wayne has what it takes to win that. And of course, Christian doesn't want to hear a damn thing about what he had to say. But of course, this match was too important. However, much of the entire time in this match, Kevin Knight was targeted due to the fact of his busted ribs that were left behind by the Hurt Syndicate. But luckily, of course, somehow he was able to pick up the win by applying the UFO splash on Nick Wayne onto Shelton Benjamin. And just like that, Knight pinned Benjamin 1, 2, 3. Just like that, they picked up the win. Now, last Wednesday, we did saw what happened. As you all know, all hell broke loose. Jon Moxley was attempting to annihilate Hangman, and not to mention not to accept his death match. But of course, we did see Marina Shafir got buckshot lariat and all that. However, Claudio was not happy with the result. He seems that he is pissed with the ops, as you know, getting involved in their business. So now they're demanding that they are asking for a shot again for the AEW World Trios titles. But the real question, who's going to be the third man, because we all know the third man was Pac the last time. We don't know what's going to be that. So most likely it's going to happen All In. So we'll stay tuned for that. Now, our next match, we have an amazing trios action. Mark Briscoe, he teams up with Hologram, and Mystico. They take on RPG Vice, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta, along with Hechiseto. Now, of course, you know how these idiots are, you know, RPG Vice and Hechiseto, members of the Don Callis family, the scumbag of the earth, as you all know. But of course, we know how talented everybody is. I mean, look, Mark Briscoe is another type of breed you don't want to mess. Hologram, amazing wrestler. Mystico, legend for what he is. But in the end, it was Mystico who picked up the win by applying La Mystica onto Rocky. And just like that, Rocky had to tap out. Mystico, along with Hologram and Mark Briscoe, picked up the win. However, during the post-match, MJF and MVP had some things to say to Mystico and Mark Briscoe, because as you know, Mark Briscoe and MJF are starting in the #1 and #2 spot of the Casino Gauntlet match in All In. And that kind of sets it up, because MJF is confident to believe that he will walk out as the winner. Mystico most likely could participate, but that's a very good question that we don't know. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, our next match was an open challenge. Once again, my Max Caster going with his usual, saying the best wrestler alive. But however, out of nowhere, a very interesting video promo was placed. It's the return of Scorpion Sky, but he is not alone. It seems that he's getting help from his longtime friend and former SCU members, SCU, Christopher Daniels, and they team up with none other than Top Flight, Dante and Darius Martin, along with Layla Gray, calling themselves now Skyflight Team. So this was one of those matches that I think many of us wouldn't expect. We were wondering when he'll be back, and now it seems it is. And he took out Max Caster after only took him at least 55 seconds to do so. So just like that, it was over when he applied the cutter onto him. So welcome back, Scorpio Sky. Now, we did see, of course, an interview with Lexley Near talking to Ricochet about the much recent developments. As you know, he's determined to form a faction. Now, of course, he wasn't going to talk about what he talked about the Gates of Agony, but however, he did let the camera crew in to show what the carnage that the Gates of Agony started. Well, they attacked both Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. So basically, they're not showing no respect for Ricochet, so we'll see what happens from there. Our next match, we have FTR versus the Outrunners. Now, it's no secret that their history between them started out as good friends, and now they're rivals due to the fact that FTR turned their backs on everyone, not to mention teaming up with that dweeb, what's his name, Stokely. It would lead to it. However, of course, it was a fantastic match, not going to lie. I mean, the Outrunners really put up a hell of a fight, but unfortunately that match ended with the Shattered Machine onto Turbo. But of course, Truth Magnum tried to get back in the ring, but that Weasel Stokely stopped them from grabbing on his leg, and just like that, FTR walked away with the win. Now, our next match, we have women's action. We have Ty J, Anna J, and Ty Mello teaming up with Queen Aminata and Rosemary, taking on Tekla, Megan Bayne, Julia Hart, and Athena. Now, of course, recently we know that Athena will be defending the ROH Women's World title at, of course, a Supercard of Honor. And, of course, there's been a lot of developments regarding what's been going on within the women's division because, as you probably can guess, everybody will be involved in the women's Casino Gauntlet match for a shot of the AEW Women's World title. But, however, this match ended with Megan Bayne applying a running powerbomb on Anna Jay, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our main event is the #1 contendership for the TNT title at All In. We have Kyle Fletcher versus Daniel Garcia. Now, Adam Cole, as you know, he had to take a full, front row seat, of course, to see what's going to happen. But of course, we did see that Kyle Fletcher is determined, as you know. He is believing that he is the future of AEW and that the title belongs to him. But however, Daniel Garcia is trying to get back on his feet after losing the title, and that's exactly what's going to do. But however, everything that Daniel Garcia has failed to do so because Fletcher applied the brainbuster, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So that means, of course, Fletcher will be meeting Adam Cole at All In. But the real question is Adam Cole was right? Was he had Kyle Fletcher dead right the last time? If he did, then of course he is going to probably send the Don Callis family to do the dirty job. But we'll see what happens from here on out. But as of right now, we are officially done with all our reviews. Let's move on to our last and final thing, news updates. So welcome to our news updates. So let's begin, of course, with upcoming events. We have 2 updates on that. ChocoPro has announced for their upcoming big show at Tokyo Square in Itabashi. They just announced for ChocoPro number 462 that will take place on the 18th of July. And they announced Harashima from DDT will be participating. And then finally, as many of you know, this coming October or so, we will see the last time Tea Honma, as you all know, this past April, on April Fool's Day, she announced her retirement, and she's going to be doing her first and only last self-produced show. And she put herself in a match against Starlight Kid, and it's going to happen on the 30th of August. So basically, yeah, can't wait. Hopefully, I get the chance to see it, but that's pretty much it. Moving on now to some developments. We want to give congratulations to Kelani Jordan and Carmello Hayes. As you all probably heard, they are now officially engaged. So congratulations, guys. So wasn't I was well aware that they were in a relationship, but I didn't expect that they're going to take their next step. So congratulations, guys. Now, many of you know this. We are getting closer and closer for the upcoming round robin tournament by Stardom, the 5-star Grand Prix. Well, Sareee, or formerly known as in NXT Sareee, they already announced her opponents throughout her schedule in the 5-star Grand Prix. This is who she has. Her first opponent will be in Konami on the 27th of July. Then on the 1st of August, she'll be facing Rana Agami. Then after that, on the 3rd of August, Hina. The 9th of August, Suzuki. On the 11th of August, Hanako. And on the 16th, Momo Watanabe. And then finally on the 17th of August, Momo Koko. So she is, of course, on the prime to win all her matches. So we'll see how things would go. Now, Stardom has already revealed that there are some first-time participants in the tournament. Other than Sareee, this is who else they had. They have Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurara, Hina, Lady C, Waka Tsukiyama, Hanako, Rianne, Bozilla, Azusa Inaba, and then of course there's going to be a match for the final spot between both Akira Kurigani and Yuri Him. So whoever walks out will be the actual winner. So we'll see how that rolls up from there. Now, many of you know this about what happened to Rina. She was basically got concussed during a match. Apparently there was a bit of a problem. Because of this, she is not yet cleared. Originally she was supposed to have her match for the Artist Championship later on this month. I'm not sure if it was going to be on the 6th, but it's just got canceled due to the fact, so it might be postponed at another date, which probably sucks, but of course it's her well-being that needs to be addressed about that. Now, as you probably may not have heard, Koguma and Hazuki wants to spread FWC to the world. Well, it was revealed by sources that Hazuki and Koguma are potentially working with AEW during the summer. Big shows like All In, The Texas, and Forbidden Door representing Stardom. So that is still unclear yet. We do know they want to spread their tag team name all over the world. And I did mention to some friends about this. I wouldn't be surprised if they participate in the upcoming, if they do a tournament for the AEW Women's or World Tag Team belts. That's something I'm sure many of us could foresee. Now, as you all know, recently, last month, we did see AEW made their way to Arena Mexico to collaborate with CML. Now, some people were questioning, why didn't we see Rush and Dralistico? And according to what Fightful Select reports, Wrestling Observer reports, this is what they said, and this is coming from Dave Meltzer. Rush and Dralistico have been pressuring AEW to have a CML vetoed them so Dralistico can have a feud with Mystico, something Meltzer believes that would generate big revenue in CML. However, CML continues to have no interest in doing business with any of them, especially Rush, as they blame him for other companies negotiating with their talent and offering them better and more expensive contracts. So basically, they still have a grudge. Now, I did mention this before, guys. CML are the type of promotion that will never forget the things where you have to show loyalty to them rather than show disrespect. Now, if you guys don't know why they are doing this, I'll explain it to you. After Paco Alonso passed away, a guy who gave both Dralistico and Rush their opportunities, passed away, they spread their loyalty to Sofia Alonso, which of course is Paco Alonso's only child, his only daughter. So basically they were loyal to her, but however, they were not loyal to the other members of the Lutheroff family, more specifically Salvatore Lutheroff, who is currently in charge of the company. So they were more loyal to Paco and his daughter. So that lets it up. I mean, yeah, I mean, we would love to see a match against Dralistico and Mystico together. For those who may not remember, Dralistico was the original Dragon Lee, and then he took over as Mystico when the original Mystico went to WWE, known as Sin Cara. So you can see the connection right there. But when, of course, the original Mystico returned to Mexico, he went by the name Garistico, and he was unable to use the name until the second Mystico, who is now Dralistico, left. He took back the name, and of course, that's how the whole history started. As for Rush, well, we'll see what happens. I'm sure Tony Khan would definitely try to negotiate to give them another opportunity. But like I said, it's going to be a bit more tricky. I'm sure CML will love nothing more to do business with Tony Khan, but with Rush and Dralistico, that's a separate matter. This is long before, of course, AEW. But, or during, I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But as of right now, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. We will do a news update soon to give you guys a bit of what's going to happen in the 5-star Grand Prix. The blocks have already been announced for the upcoming 5-star Grand Prix. So we'll see how things will go from there. And as for our next episode, we do have a much recent New Japan show, and that's something we're definitely going to go through. There is, of course, another Stardom show and all that. We'll see what happens from there. So we'll go from there. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.